In this topic we will deal with the valuation of debt and equity securities separately, because the valuation of each type of security is fundamentally different. But before we do, it is important to have a good understanding of the differences between these two types of securities. Debt securities almost always have a limited life. There are exceptions. There is a special kind of debt security which lasts forever. But most of the time, debt is valued on the basis of a finite life. Debt securities usually pay a fixed rate of return or interest. Again, there are exceptions called floating rate securities, but their valuation is beyond the scope of this subject. Finally, debt securities represent a contractual claim on the income and assets of the firm. Any default on payments to the holders of debt securities is a breach of contract, and the company issuing them can be sued in the courts or even put into liquidation. Equity securities differ from debt securities in these important respects. Equity securities almost always have an unlimited life. Some preference shares can be redeemed or sold back to the company, and sometimes a company can buy back its ordinary shares. But since there is no certainty of these things happening, equity securities, as we shall see, are almost always valued on the basis that they will last forever. Equity securities typically pay a variable return, which depends on the profitability of the firm. Unlike debt securities, this return can be negative if the securities fall in value. And finally, equity securities represent a residual claim on the firm. This means that the holders of the equity securities, the shareholders, own what is left after the contractual claims have been met. If there is no money left over, they cannot sue the firm for breach of contract. For all of the reasons shown here and on the previous slide, equity securities are considered to be a riskier form of investment than debt securities.